Consider the simple act of sitting still, the quiet observation of the world from a comfortable chair. For us, this can be peaceful, contemplative. But imagine if that stillness was emotionally silent. Imagine a world where the default human experience is congenital anhedonia, the complete inability to feel pleasure or joy from sensory input. A beautiful sunset would paint the sky with colors you could perceive but not feel. The taste of your favorite food would be nothing more than chemical data. In this world, to feel happy, you must first move. In our brains, a complex network of neurons called the mesolimbic pathway is responsible for feelings of reward. When you achieve a goal or experience something pleasant, neurons in the ventral tegmental area release dopamine into the nucleus accumbens, and you feel pleasure. Now, picture that pathway surgically severed. The signal simply stops. A hug from a loved one is just pressure and warmth. A brilliant piece of music is only a sequence of frequencies. The biological hardware for joy exists, but all the conventional inputs are disconnected, leading to a dead end. There is, however, one connection that remains. It doesn't start with your eyes or your ears. It starts in the motor cortex, the part of your brain that plans and executes voluntary actions. When you decide to walk, to run, to simply clench your fist, a signal travels down a different route, one that passes through a deep and ancient part of the brain, the basal ganglia. This cluster of nuclei is not just a relay station for movement. It's intricately wired into the reward circuit. In this reality, the electrical impulse that contracts a muscle is the only key that can unlock the dopamine floodgates. Movement is not a cause of joy. The neural signal for movement is the joy. This link goes far beyond a simple dopamine transaction. Sustained movement unlocks the body's entire neurochemical pharmacy. We've all heard of endorphins, the body's natural opiates that create a runner's high. But there are also endocannabinoids, molecules our bodies produce that are remarkably similar to the active compounds in cannabis, which reduce anxiety and induce a sense of calm well-being during and after exercise. Even more profoundly, movement stimulates the production of BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You can think of BDNF as a fertilizer for your brain cells, helping them grow, connect, and become more resilient. In this world, physical activity isn't just about feeling good now. It's about physically building a brain that is more capable of happiness. The connection between moving and feeling would reshape thought itself. The theory of embodied cognition suggests that our minds are not separate from our physical bodies. We think with our bodies. When we gesture, we aren't just illustrating our words, we are helping our brain access and formulate them. In a world where joy is kinetic, this would be taken to its logical extreme. A complex philosophical debate wouldn't happen in chairs, but as a capoeira-like exchange of movements. A mathematical proof wouldn't be written on a blackboard, but performed as a choreographed dance. The moment of insight, the eureka, would be a specific, complex, and deeply satisfying physical flourish. Human civilization would be architected around perpetual motion. An office would resemble a gymnasium, with employees walking on treadmill desks or brainstorming on balance boards. Schools would teach history through interpretive dance and physics through parkour, measuring understanding by the grace and precision of a student's movements. Music would be judged solely on its rhythm and its ability to compel the body to move. A symphony hall might look more like a rave, with the orchestra in the center of a swirling mass of ecstatic dancers. Even language would change, with tone and emotional emphasis conveyed not by pitch, but by the subtle, continuous gestures that accompany every word. But what would be lost? The profound joy of stillness. The quiet contemplation of a work of art would be impossible. You could analyze its composition, but you couldn't be moved by it. A museum would be a place for brisk walks, the paintings just colorful mile markers. The act of reading a novel in a quiet corner would be a purely intellectual exercise in data absorption, devoid of emotional thrill or comfort. Meditation, the practice of finding peace in stillness, would be a nonsensical concept, a voluntary descent into a state of absolute emotional emptiness. The entire emotional spectrum associated with tranquility, serenity, peace, contentment would simply not exist. The quality of this kinetic joy would be governed by a surprising part of the brain, the cerebellum. Located at the back of the skull, this little brain contains over half of all your brain's neurons. We once thought it was only for balance and motor coordination, ensuring your movements are smooth and precise. But recent research reveals its deep involvement in emotion, attention, and cognitive planning. In a world of motional joy, the cerebellum would be the master artist. It would be the difference between the crude, simple pleasure of tapping a foot and the sublime, nuanced euphoria of a perfectly executed dance. It would fine-tune the signals from the motor cortex, adding emotional texture and depth, transforming raw movement into a rich symphony of feeling. This entire thought experiment isn't just a fantasy. It's an exaggeration of a fundamental truth about our own biology. We don't need a hypothetical world to experience joy through movement. That circuit is already built into every one of us. The feedback from our muscles and joints, our sense of proprioception, constantly whispers to our brain, influencing our mood and thoughts in ways we barely notice. Rhythmic activities like walking or dancing stimulate the vagus nerve, a direct information highway between the body and the brain's emotion regulation centers. Perhaps in our modern sedentary lives, we have simply forgotten how to turn the key. The ghost in the machine is not a ghost at all. It is a physical system, an ancient and powerful source of joy, waiting for a signal to begin. Monotony has grown fast. Nearly 2,700 people have watched in the last few weeks, yet less than 0.03% are subscribed. It would mean a lot if you joined by hitting subscribe. And again, thanks for watching.